when stories and anything that you've been through, when it's shared, it's sorrow divided and joy multiplied.
Your freshman year was the last concussion where we had to make the decision that you were no longer able to play.
It was a serious struggle. I was diagnosed with depression. I had thoughts of suicide. I had to...
It was a wake-up call, right?
It is a superpower to ask for help.
The power of sharing stories. I started linking indie women when I was in my 30s, early 30s, and now I am 48, and I truly feel like there's so many stories left to tell. Every woman has a story. It's something that I have been so passionate about. I want to make sure women who come with us on this journey and hear these stories that they know and they can see themselves in these stories. It's just about being a woman and the similarities of struggle and the similarities of wins. I just want women to feel seen and heard and that they belong here. Wow, this has been a long time coming. Hi.
Hello. Hello.
I guess we should kind of do some introductions, but I think we should also talk about why we started linking independent women, why we're launching it, what we want to do, etc.
Definitely. Really exciting that we first and foremost launched, but secondly, what I am most excited for with linking independent women is to bring in kind of the new generation, our being kind of mid-20s, starting out in my career. I feel like having like multi-generational mentorship is really crucial in career development and leveraging those relationships. So I'm really excited to just kind of start bringing in more of those voices so that we can all learn from each other and bridge that gap. So that's what I'm most excited for and kind of why I wanted to come along with you, Mom, because you've been kind of the voice, and as you've progressed in your career and you've been a very pivotal pillar in my career growth, I thought it would be awesome to kind of join forces together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I started linking indie women when I was in my 30s. So like early 30s. And now I am, 48. And I truly feel like there's so many stories left to tell. I mean, I don't know. Every woman has a story, and it bridges industries, generations, demographics. It's something that I have been so passionate about and has helped me not just in my career but in my personal life, like making major life decisions, like who's going to be my partner, or how am I going to raise my kids, or all of those things. I just feel like stories have really helped me get through some of the hardest times of my life and some of the most inspiring and transformational times of my life, and including like raising you and your brothers and being a single mom. So I want to make sure women who come with us on this journey and hear these stories that they know and they can see themselves in these stories. It's not about being in a certain career mode. It's not about being in a certain industry. It's just about being a woman and the similarities of struggle and the similarities of wins and everything in between. Like, I just want women to feel seen and heard and that they belong here. So I am super excited because today you are going to share your story, which you inspire me. I probably should tell you that more, and I will not get emotional today. But I just am so in awe of you as a human being. And I get told all the time when people meet you that you are just incredible and a gem of a human. So I'm excited for you to share you with
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really quickly, I want to add to something that you said was just every woman belongs here in every season. And I think you'll learn this in my story. Like the pause is really important. Just kind of taking a step back and learning who you are. And something that I really value about hearing stories from women on a daily basis, and really everyone, I think stories really showcase that we are more similar than we are different. And I feel like maybe the world that we live in today maybe showcases, those differences a little bit more. And so I really, really am hopeful that this podcast and this movement and linking independent women brings everyone together. Without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce myself.
So one quick thing I wanted to share, though, that when we were with your oldest brother, Evan,
Mhm.
over the weekend, I think it was, or maybe just the week, I don't know. Something he said was really impactful, and I think it goes with this the whole theme that we're doing. Can
Yeah.
you share what that is?
Yes. So, um, as I've been going through this season, my brothers have just been pillars of strength for me, voices of reason, just people I go to for advice, especially, on the relationship front and really just everything. I talk to them every day. And I was telling Evan, I was being vulnerable, sharing, I kind of ended a situationship, if you will. I mean, it's not really, uh, yeah, I mean, I hate to say that because I'm more of a committal person, but he shared with me, he was like, Emma, like, I want you to come to me with this kind of stuff because essentially, when stories and just anything that you've been through is when it's shared, um, it's sorrow divided and joy multiplied, is what he said. So when you share in your vulnerable, and it might be, a story that like your voice shakes a little bit because it's not something you want to admit out loud. Um, when you share it, it is divided and you feel lighter. You really do. And after that conversation with Evan and you around the fire pit the other night, I was like, wow, like I feel a lot lighter. I didn't have to carry that alone for so long. Um, and yeah, like, I mean, what he said was extremely profound. And I think that that is also when you share stories, I mean, it really is. It's sorrow divided and joy multiplied. So,
I
yeah.
love that. And I just also want to reiterate that this story sharing for women is not just for women to hear. This is also for everyone and anyone going through any type of transition, beginning, start, everything in the messy middle. So I was really, Evan has been a source of encouragement, and he's part of this story too. But anyway, without
Yeah.
further ado, let's introduce Emma Lacey.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to not only share my story today, but also be along for the journey with you guys. Honestly, I'm like, where do I begin? Um, I guess so I can kind of start with my upbringing and go from there. So, born and raised in Indiana, unfortunately did not get out of here, but maybe fortunately as well, because living in the Midwest does allow you the opportunities to travel and work remotely, and there's a lot of benefit to living in Indianapolis. But that's besides the point. Grew up and kind of just really I honestly, like, I look back and I did have a really amazing childhood. And I think that is a testament to um, my mom, who stayed home for the first,
Let's
eight,
get it.
8 to 10 years, mom, like 8 to 10 years
No,
of,
no. I mean, we had a business together,
yeah, that is
so
true. You and mom, yeah,
I was fortunate and privileged to be
yeah,
able to work around that, but I
yeah,
also, you know, I had, yeah, I was having kids in college, which I don't
Yeah.
really recommend, but anyway, it was a great time. But yes, I was able and privileged to be able to spend a lot of time with you while we were doing the business.
All the things. Yeah. Like I remember
Mhm.
just you were extremely present and really just, spent so
Mhm.
much time with you, whether that was the water parks or outside, or I remember I had my fifth birthday was strawberry shortcake, and I sat outside and you handmade a paper mache pinata. It was a strawberry shaped pinata, and I
Mhm.
just was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, like I look back and you did your best to give us a magical childhood, and I really think that you accomplished that. I would say that growing up, everyone goes through hardships, but I think the hardest thing that I had to navigate was probably you and dad's divorce. And um, again, another thing that you were super proactive about, and something I vividly remember was, kind of the divorce was definitely tumultuous. Like, let's just be honest. Um, I think it took some time for it to be finalized, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Um,
long, long process.
yes. And I think with that, any kind of hardship that kids face, any kind of change, you were proactive. Got us into like banana splits, which was a super interesting program where kids who are experiencing divorce or separation within their family unit, they can go, and it was like every Wednesday, I think, that we would go and meet with just a group counselor and kind of talk about our feelings. At the end, we'd make a banana split, which was kind of
It's
fun.
so fun. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I think really that was kind of the hardest thing that I really had to navigate. I think something that was very foundational in all of our lives were sports. So pushed really hard in volleyball and basketball and track and cross country, and like that was all of our
Okay.
lives. Like we really didn't do anything else other than play sports 24/7.
I don't know if
Um,
that was a good thing. I coached too, so
I, yeah,
I'm still on the fence about how much I think kids should play sports. But anyway, go ahead.
yes, I think at the end of the day, right now, and you'll hear in my story, I have a 5-year-old son, but right now it should be fun. Like
Mhm.
from two, which is when I got my son in just like little kicker soccer, to it should always be fun. Actually, you know
Yeah,
what? Yeah, it should always be fun.
that would be
But yeah,
fun.
like we were pushed very hard in the sports department, and really from I don't know, how young did I start playing like volleyball? I know it was like second grade
Hmm.
club, or just maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, it was indie juniors club. Yeah. Um, and then I mean I was playing like the little like basketball league, local basketball league in like kindergarten. So like from 5 up, sports was my identity. And
Hmm.
I would say I was pretty good academically and athletically. Like that was just my main focus until
Hmm.
high school hit. I believe it was freshman year. Um, I just had a series of concussions that I kind of dealt with and managed, and um, that was when I kind of hit a wall of like, who am I outside of the athletics? Because I had no idea. I mean, my entire day, week, my life revolved around, what practice I was going to next, what strength and conditioning
Hmm.
session did I have, where was I going that weekend, or it was just that was it consumed me.
Yeah. Well, can I
Um,
interject
yeah,
here?
yeah,
Because so your freshman year was the debilitated, well, it was the last concussion where we had to make the decision that you were no longer able to play.
yeah, that's
And
true.
your social structure was revolved around that,
Yeah.
and kind of had to reinvent what life looked like after that. And so I just kind of wanted to set that scene
Yeah.
as it was a major life pivot and
Hmm.
also a major health scare for, as a mom,
Yeah.
that was tough. Yeah. And for
Yeah.
you, yeah.
It was a serious struggle. You are right. I remember it was three concussions, like three severe concussions, and I was seeing a concussion specialist, and he goes, "Yeah, like there's no more contact sports for you after this because if anyone's familiar with athletics, you take a baseline test, and then anytime you get a concussion or an injury, whatever that is, and you retake that baseline test, and it's significantly worse than when you started, um, you're done for." So um, I was pretty much completely done with I was done with contact sports, and it probably took, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks for my chemical levels in my brain to recognize I was not working out 3 times a day, and basically my serotonin levels plummeted, and I found myself in a very dark spot. And I think on top of just a side note, high school, middle school is a really hard time for young women, anyways. You are
Mhm.
changing in every shape and form. And I just really, really struggled. I was diagnosed with depression. Um, I had thoughts of suicide. Um, I had to get on some SSRIs, which I think was like I tried, Zoloft, Lexapro, those kind of things to help manage. And I had to get an individual therapist as well as an intensive outpatient program, kind of doing some group therapy. And that I think was hard on not only me, you, but our entire family. But I think when we kind of look back today, it really did kind of change how our family looked at sports and how we handled mental health from that day on forward. Um,
Mhm. It was a
yeah,
wake
I'll
up.
pass.
It was a
Yeah,
wake up call, right? Like,
yes,
what was really important? What is our
mhm,
family? What's our family's value
yeah,
system? I think we, for me, you always think, well, at least for me, coming up as my mom was always like in the mental health field. I'm like, I know this like the back of my hand. I know what to do. And it's just every situation is unique. And you certainly, like the way it manifested itself was for those listening, who may have going through having teenagers or going through this process, like it manifested itself with you sitting in a dark room, not being able to go to school,
mhm,
not being able to have bright lights, not being able to be around noise, not being
mhm,
able to really drive in a car, like sitting up, looking out the window. It was just a very, very dark place that everybody had to get on board, and even if we didn't know the answers, we had to be supportive. And that's really hard for a family that's like used to like, let's just go and win. Let's just go
yeah,
and tackle this. It's like, oh shoot, there's this thing we can't conquer.
yeah,
And yeah, but anyway, I think it did change our family in a good
hmm,
way, in a really good way, which
ab-
is hard to say.
absolutely. And I remember like grandma and grandpa were a huge, huge part of that, piece of my story too. Um, you know, like you mentioned, grandma having the psych background, and then grandpa, like one day we were out probably at Cheesecake Factory or something, and he looked at me and he's like, started tearing up, and he was like, I like, Emma, we almost lost you. And I
Mhm.
think you do realize what's important. And I also like my friendships from there, I think, became a little bit more intentional. And I was honestly also able to expand to people who didn't play sports, which I
Yes.
think was awesome. I just had a really great friend group after that season through high school. Um, I also think that it made our family grow closer. I know that you were adamant about all of us talking about our feelings consistently after that. You're like, okay, we, you know, daily check-ins, like how's everyone
Mhm,
doing? And we had family meetings and we talk about our
mhm,
values. And I definitely think that because of that situation and probably just other things too that maybe
mhm,
compounded over time, but we became more open as a family, more vulnerable. And I think that also made us stronger and more confident human beings. And
mhm,
ultimately, I think vulnerability is success. I think that when you can show up as you are, I would say that was success. Going through that definitely sucked. And
mhm,
doing all of that work, it also made me have empathy. Like, I think when you play sports, you do play with and compete with people of all backgrounds. But I think also when you you compete with them and you're on the same team. But when you sit in a group therapy setting where there's 15 other 16-year-olds going through their own hardships, and it could be substance abuse, it could be whatever, and you're like, not that my problems weren't valid or my feelings weren't valid, but it makes you feel a little less alone, and also just had this deeper um, understanding of empathy. And
yeah,
I think that that really helped our family too, because you guys, or you and dad, had to sit in on those sessions too.
yeah,
It was part of
yeah,
the program, so yeah.
mhm. Yeah, and shout out to all of the people that work in that setting.
Mhm.
They're the real heroes here. I learned so much about the human capacity, right? To heal, to love, to just, you know, the power of sharing stories. I remember being in that group and having, watching families share their stories, and it was just really, really wonderful and impactful. So, yeah. So the good news
Yes.
is, uh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of goodness that came.
Yes, and I think too, the message for everyone that is listening, um, it is a superpower to ask for help. Like, if you are struggling, whether that's anxiety, depression, OCD, any type of mental health related, um, you know, not necessarily any kind of circumstances that are making you feel, I mean, therapy is extremely beneficial, and I think it has helped me grow as an individual. As I got out of, kind of moved forward from that situation, I continued with an individual therapist, really,
Hmm.
and as I saw needed. So that was
Yeah.
really, really wonderful. And I'm happy to report that the next 3 years of high school were amazing. And I had the time of my life. I had amazing friends. My junior year, I decided to run cross country. So I took, the answer
Yeah.
for no contact sports. But I was like, cross country is not, or it is no contact. Um,
Hmm.
However, our first meet, I remember I was running and I saw a young girl run into a tree and she actually got a concussion. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. I thought escaped this. But um, that decision for myself, I chose to run cross country for me. And I actually did not allow any of my family members to come to the meet, because I was like, this is, I'm doing this for me. I
Yeah.
am running 3.2 miles every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. and nobody's coming. So
Yeah.
that was really awesome. Met one of my best friends through that as well. And after high school, I went on to go to Ball State, and I met a man named Zach, actually, like 2 weeks, well, no, a couple weeks before I left for Ball State. And we thought it was like young love. Showed up at my dorm with flowers and would come to my lectures and all the things. And COVID hit, and found out we were pregnant. So, um, also had a kid during college. But honestly, I know you had said that you didn't recommend it. And yes, you should be a little bit more established in life. But I really wouldn't change how anything happened either. And I know you kind of had all of us from like 19 to 22, 23, like back to back. And
Mhm.
we are built-in best friends. So I, um, COVID hit, was pregnant. We had a cruise booked for March 6th that we departed on, and the world shut down March 13th, that Friday while we were on the ship. And if anyone remembers, during COVID, a cruise ship was the worst place to be during the pandemic.
Yes.
So, and not only was I first trimester just vomiting, seasick, it was just honestly the worst vacation ever, which is crazy to say because it was a Caribbean cruise and I was with my son's dad. It was just us two, and we had amazing times when I wasn't hanging on for dear life with the ship and everything. And
There were so many things, so many
yeah,
things. It's like, are
so
you going to get back? We were so worried. We were so worried.
yes. Yes, it was crazy. And actually, the last day they announced, it was that Friday when the world shut down, they said, everyone stay in your room. We'll bring you hot meals outside your door. So, like, we were like locked in that room. And luckily, our ship did port and we were able to get off and get home. But, my pregnancy, kind of navigating that while doing online college and, um, being young and accepting the fact that I was pregnant. And we did talk about every option possible. And of course, I knew that I always wanted to be a mom. He always wanted to be a dad. And he's the best thing that's ever happened to both of us. And so, kind of going through feeling all the feels and my pregnancy was a little unique in the way I only saw my OBGYN like 3 times in the total span of 9 months. Um, I did not have the easiest birth. You were not allowed to be in the room. Zach, Emmett's dad, was barely allowed to be in the room. Um, and grandma had just passed away like a few weeks before that. I
Mhm.
was 9 months pregnant and gave a eulogy speech at a funeral right before I gave birth. It was just, COVID was just a
Not it.
very,
Not
not
it.
it. It was not it. It
Not
was not
it.
it. It was not
Yeah.
it. And, and yeah, so ended up giving birth and everything, and he was perfect, healthy little boy named Emmett River. And yeah, anything you want to add there, Mom?
He is the sweetest, kindest, just so fun, so fun and full of joy. He's so full of joy. And that really is a testament to you as a mom and Zach as a dad. And he's got a lot of people around him that love him.
Yeah,
So,
he's he's
uh,
super.
yeah,
He's so loved. Yes.
he's so loved.